Emperor is a Bolliger and Mabillard Dive coaster located at SeaWorld San Diego in San Diego, California. Is this coaster overrated or underrated? Find out my thoughts in this review. In 2019, SeaWorld San Diego announced a new Bolliger and Mabillard Dive coaster that would be named Mako. However, this name would later be changed to Emperor. Emperor was planned to open in 2020. However, just like the other attractions in the SeaWorld chain that were supposed to open in 2020 or 2021, the opening date was moved to 2022. Emperor stands 153 feet tall and has a drop of 143 feet, while traveling a top speed of 63 miles an hour. The theming. Emperor is themed to the Emperor Penguin. I find it pretty clever how they chose a dive coaster for this theme because penguins dive into the water. If SeaWorld had added some sort of pond that the coaster went through with actual penguins, this theming would be elite. However, for the moment, Emperor is lightly themed. The only two major points of theming are signs in the queue and a cool entry sign. Overall, this roller coaster has very light theming. If SeaWorld put a little bit more effort into theming this attraction, it probably would have climbed a few spots in my rankings. The trains. These trains are the 6 across dive coaster trains from B&M. These trains are the exact same ones you can find on Valkyria at Liseberg in Sweden. These trains feature the B&M Vestas trains. Most enthusiasts like to hate on these restraints because they quote-unquote give less airtime. I personally like how the restraint is very comfortable and not as restrictive as you may think. As for how these trains look, I really like the color scheme of dark blue, black, and purple contrasting with the sky blue track. The train also has what looks like a sticker attached to the chassis of the front car with a graphic that is supposed to make the train look like an emperor penguin. SeaWorld usually does a great job with front cars, and while I think that this is a little below average for them, it's a nice touch that they easily couldn't have added. The ride experience. Emperor starts with a very slow 180-degree turn to the right. Emperor then charges up the 153-foot tall lift hill. This lift is pretty steep and pretty fast. If you sit towards the right side of the train, you get an amazing view of downtown San Diego. If you sit towards the left side of the train, you get a great view of the 143-foot vertical plunge. When you reach the top, you turn 180 degrees to the left. While you do this, you get great views of downtown San Diego regardless of where you sit on the train. Emperor then slows down and hangs you over the edge of the 90-degree drop for around 3 to 4 seconds. This is the main part of dive coasters that makes them intimidating for most people. I have seen some rides where the chain does not engage and riders do not stop before the drop. I imagine this would give spectacular ejector airtime in all rows. However, this happens very rarely, so don't expect to get it on your next visit. Emperor then goes down the 143-foot 90-degree drop. This drop gives sustained floater airtime that lasts for around 3 seconds. This is probably my second or third favorite drop on a roller coaster, only behind Steel Vengeance and possibly Iron Glossy. I will have the link to my review of that ride in the description of this video. Emperor then heads into an Immelman. The rise into this element gives great positive G's. The twist out of this element is very graceful and does not offer much in terms of laterals. Emperor then rises into an overbank turn. This element is the one element of Emperor that I felt didn't deliver. It did not have much in terms of forces, and when you have a ride as short as Emperor, every element has to hit. And sadly, this one does not. Emperor then heads into my favorite version of the ride, the 0G Winder. This element has some fun hang time when you invert, as you invert relatively slowly. The positive G's coming out of this element are also very fun and sustained. Emperor then quickly heads into a corkscrew. This is taken with some speed, yet it has a tiny bit of hang time as it is very drawn out. The final quote-unquote element of Emperor is the bank turn to the right. That has a bit of positive G's, but nothing more. The final brakes slow you down pretty gradually as you head into the station. This ends your 2,411 foot long journey on Emperor. Final thoughts. Emperor is a fun dive coaster. I really like the first drop and the 0G winder. This ride is in the upper third of roller coasters I've ridden. Emperor is currently my third favorite roller coaster in California and my 11th favorite overall. Though I've only ridden 34 different roller coasters at the time of making this video. When I went to SeaWorld San Diego, this ride only had a 5-minute wait. It seemed like most of the crowds were at the two family coasters in Manta and Arctic Rescue. Expect reviews of those two rides soon. I think that this roller coaster is pretty underrated among enthusiasts because it has fun elements and great pacing. What do you think of Emperor? Tell me in the comments below. And if this video does well, expect a lot more roller coaster reviews in the future, especially as I ride more roller coasters. Bye!